Hey everyone, this is Matt from the podcast. Before we jump into this week's episode for movie reviews, we just want you guys to know that when we recorded this episode, we did that before our recording with the Denver podcast. So if this episode sounds a little hurried more than normal, that's the reason why, because we were on a time crunch that day. Either way, we hope you guys like it and enjoy the episode. All right, let's get to it. Welcome back to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast, episode 16. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
And today we are going to be talking about movies The Den and The Collector.
Ew.
Dun, dun, dun.
Collecting dens up in here.
Oh.
I know, I hate myself too.
Get yourself a den. Bitches loves dens.
What?
Yeah, the Pope said that.
Oh, well, I mean, if the Pope said it, it must be true.
Yeah. So we're a little bit on a time crunch today, so I don't know. Do you think we should just talk about one thing that we love and hate?
Yeah, we'll try not to go on a rant.
Because we're still going to give them at least an hour of content, because that is who we are.
Yeah, we give you what you want.
I mean, we could still talk about things we love and hate, or we can just talk about, what do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, like normal or different?
So, what do you love and hate right now, Matt?
You want me to go first?
Yes.
I went first last time.
Well, I want you to go first again.
Oh, shucks.
Because I'm just that nice.
Oh, God, you're such a good guy.
Go already.
I actually can't. I can't remember what I love. And what I hate, I gave up on because it has to do with 105.9 again. And I'm just
oh my God!
I'm like, let it go, man. Let it go.
Just let it go.
I just gotta let it go.
They're not worth it.
I just gotta. Okay, so I got something that I really really hate. It is that, well, I guess it's less hate and more just annoyance. Is that I've been getting into arguments with certain people recently about like millennials. And,
oh my God!
And it's mostly people are so here. Okay, so it's kind of like a two-sided thing that adds into it. So first of all, I've been arguing with people who are our age who don't realize that they're millennials, making jokes about millennials. And like some people, like I'm like, if from 94 till like so I think it's like 85 or 86 to 94, that's a millennial.
Yeah.
Like, that is the age of millennial. Anything after 94 is not a millennial. That is Gen Z or iGen. That's literally the term for it.
Or Tide Podders.
They're Tide Podders. So, that was just one thing frustrating. But going more into it is that I've been getting really, I guess it's the typical quote-unquote millennial complaint to have that Generation X and baby boomers are complaining about us and complaining that we don't know how hard it is to work. And I'm just like, I will murder you so hard.
It's like, I have 2 jobs.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I understand. In our age group, we have some of us that just suck, that are terrible people, that are annoying, and probably should just go and reevaluate their whole life decisions. Like, but that's the same with baby boomers. That's the same with Gen X. Hell, President Trump is one of those.
Yeah.
And
I
I guarantee he's not one of the best of you guys. So if we're really going down this road of like, one age group sucks, yours is a president. And he's doing a real bang up job there. I'm just saying.
I don't know. My favorite thing, one of the things that I got really pissy about is like, if your generation remembers this, and it showed like those fucking stupid ass kids that would like burn themselves with their lighters and stuff like that. It says, then you have no room to complain about, and it shows Tide Pods and someone snorting a condom. And I was like, but that wouldn't kill us.
Like,
that didn't kill us.
Your generation sniffed glue. Relax.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like it was someone who was complaining about their generation getting shit on for eating Tide Pods and snorting condoms. Yeah. Again, your generation's trying to kill yourselves for views on YouTube.
Yeah, let's get it straight. every generation has people that suck.
Yeah.
Okay, no generation is superior to the other. The only ones that we can make the argument for are probably, I don't know, fucking cavemen.
And they beat people on the heads with clubs before they had sex with them, so.
And back then, there was no political correctness. There was and and grunt.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I hear what you're saying. Like, people are just like, oh, like, kids these days never, or, you know, millennials never grew up with Care Bears. I'm like, yeah, we did.
Yes, we did.
Have you never heard of reruns, motherfucker?
Yeah. You never heard of this thing called the internet?
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like I grew up on Looney Tunes because of reruns. Yeah. You dumb bitch.
Yeah, I grew up on Looney Tunes and Godzilla, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I was like, oh no.
I remember VHSs. Okay, I know those were the thing.
But that also makes me think of those like pictures where it's like, if she doesn't know what this is, she's too young for you.
Oh yeah.
And like I saw one on this group I'm part of on Facebook that has like the candy cigarettes. She's like, if she doesn't know what this, you're too young for you. And I'm like, so if she's born in the 90s? I'm like, what are you talking about? Those were still around the 90s. So I just replied with a picture of a stone wheel. Like, if she don't know what this is, son, she's way too young for you. We're taking it back to BC.
Yeah, it's like, if you were to go that far.
So I've been really annoyed with that because it's just like, I hate the whole stigma of like, oh, you don't work hard. I'm like, motherfucker, I do 3 jobs, go to school and take care of a kid. Do not even give me the whole right. I don't work hard. I will murder you.
You can lick my butthole.
In my sleep, I will astral project into you and I will murder you from the inside out.
Jesus.
I will purposely die just to haunt you.
I'd only haunt you on the toilet, though. You'll never be able to take a shit for the rest of your life.
I will haunt you every time you have sex.
That too.
Especially if you ever get lucky and have sex with someone 10 times harder than you, then I'm definitely going to haunt and, like, become that person's face. And you're going to have to look at me the entire time.
Like,
and I'm going to whisper
in your ear. Now?
I'm going to whisper in your ear, like, your dick is small. It's so small. It's so tiny. How are you inside her? It's so small. It's like a flashlight in a Grand Canyon. It's so tiny. You can see the light, but it's not really worth it. That's right. I just called all those Gen X's and baby boomers tiny penises.
It's probably true. Again, look at Trump.
I mean, some of you are all right. We do like some of you, mom and dad.
Mom, dad, Gary. Love you guys.
Everyone, you know, the people who are nice to us, we enjoy. Which, that's also kind of one of the thing I want to point out. Or, no, I'm taking up too much time.
Yeah.
I should probably...
I would like to go too sometime.
I haven't talked about the thing I love though.
I know, so go.
Okay. The thing I love recently is that the Bomb Pops came out with their new EP, which is a Cali punk band, girl-fronted punk band, and they're extremely badass and fun, and they're really like catchy with all their music, and I enjoy it so much, and I'm just so happy that there's new music out. There's actually been a lot of new music that's been coming out from bands I like Denver's Own The Anchor. They just came out with their latest EP, and I love that song off their new EP, Make It Last. And also I've been really getting into this one band called FOD. I think they're a Canadian punk band.
Oh, nice.
And they're actually really, really good.
We love that punk rock, eh?
Fuck off, Nazi punk. What's that all about? Sorry I know we actually have Canadian listeners, so if that was offensive, I'm sorry. We do like you guys. So shout out to you. Shout out to Canada. What's up? We love your syrup. I only say that because I know nothing about Canada.
I mean, I like their Canadian whiskey, so...
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I know nothing about Canada.
If we didn't have Canada, there would be no Crown Royale.
See? Everyone adds to this world. Everyone adds to it.
Yep.
Thank you, Canada, for being the best friend ever. Did I ever tell you about my theory about like what America is and like Canada like in a college setting?
What?
Okay, so it's like at a college party, right? Like you have Japan or you have Asia and you have Canada and you have Europe and they're all just kind of talking like, oh, Canada goes up to Europe. It's like, how's it going, Europe? Oh, we're doing good. Been around, a long time. We finally made basically all temptations, legal, and things are doing good. We're struggling a little bit with our currency in Britain, but we're getting there. Oh, that's cool. How's it going, Asia? Great. Technology is expanding immensely. We're doing fantastic. And the Western world, if you ever see America, don't tell them this, but they buy up our weird shit. They just love that stuff. We make so much money off of. And Canada's just like, I feel ya. We made a teen drama and everybody just loved that shit. They ate it up like hotcakes. And then you see America.
And then you got Drake.
And then you see America just kick down the door with like a visor turned to the side with sunglasses and be like, "What's up, faggots? America's in the house." Like America's kind of at the age where like now we're the douchey like college guy. like now we're just like, how's it going? Pow pow pow, got them guns. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Japan. They're like Russia's just saying in the back, like, I got a lot of guns too.
So Russia's like the creepy one in the corner drinking this vodka, watching everybody.
Yeah, Russia's just chilling like in the back, like he doesn't need to make a statement unless he needs to, and like fucking so America just goes up to Japan, be like, hey, we cool. Are we over that whole time where we kind of like bombed? Yeah, I know, really awkward. Are we all right? Did you get my gift? And like Japan still has animosity. I'm like, yeah. And once America turns around, he's like, you fucking bitch, you douchebag.
I hate you.
He's like, Canada, how's it going, nerd? That's how America is towards Canada. And then like America's like, all right, guys, I'm gonna go do a keg stand over there. Holy shit, it's North Korea. Watch this. I'm gonna give him a wedgie. It's gonna be so funny.
Jesus.
That's how I think we're viewed.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Try to give like North Korea a wedgie. All right.
Well, everyone else saying that's not a good idea. Don't do that.
Just funny.
Stop.
Look at him. Laugh at him.
It's not that funny.
Laugh at him.
It's not that funny.
What a dork, right? Oh God, America, you're so funny. You're so funny.
Oh my God.
All right, go ahead. What's something you love, something you hate?
I kind of got two things that I loved this week. Finally had a date night with the lady. It was just me and her, so that was nice.
Did you guys have sex?
I'm not telling.
Ooh, that means yes.
And I picked up the new God of War, and it's really, really fucking good.
Yeah, I need to pick it up too.
Really good.
I'm so behind on my game catalog.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still am too, but like, it's just been kind of nice to pick up like the newer games lately. So I haven't usually have to wait like forever before I can grab them. But I've been getting rid of some of my older games and stuff, so like I'm putting it towards new ones. And like the new God of War is so nice, and it's really cool that they took Kratos, who's in the first God of War games, like he was pretty one-dimensional, just pissed off, angry guy. That
and they made him more complex.
Yeah, and they gave him more of a story. Like you see a struggle of how much he wants to show his son how much he loves him, but at the same time, he's like, I ain't raising no bitch. Like,
I mean, I
kind of see that. Like, he wants to give him a hug, but at the same time, he's like, you're going to have to kill people, so I can't give you a hug.
I mean, I'm the same way with Aaron. I'm just like, look, you need to learn to be sweet and kind, but when you're at school, you rule that courtyard.
Yeah. So that's one. That's the thing. And then the thing I hate mostly is it sucks, like, so kind of going back like on technology and stuff like that, it sucks that you have to kind of like get a new thing almost like feels like every couple months, especially with like phones. Like I need to get a new phone soon because like mine's just shit in a brick, like barely into the apps like take forever to work anymore. And I know it's like one of those like, oh, first world problems, but like it's stupid that you'll pay like $100 or more like for a nice phone, and then like one little thing will fuck it up, and then it just like doesn't want to work for you anymore. Yeah. Because like mine right now, if I once I charge it and I unplug it, like Snapchat stops working. I have to reset it at least twice a day.
And yours is an Android, right?
Yeah. See, well, this is the first time I've had a problem with an Android.
Well, no, I'm not making the whole like argument like which is better. My whole argument's always been is that both suck.
Yeah, both do suck, and like that's the thing that I'm really disappointed about it, because I shelled out I think $150 for this phone, and it took 2 months before like some of these issues started popping up. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like,
yeah,
come on. And like the guy at the store was like, yeah, it's used for this phone was made specifically for like videos and stuff like that to like give good video quality and watch YouTube and stuff like that on that. And so, like, the cases come with a little kickstand. And so, like, one time I was watching YouTube and I put it on the kickstand so I can, like, get the whole screen out. And then, like, 2 minutes into the video, it would, like, kind of cut out a little bit. Yeah. And then after another 2 minutes, like, if I'm watching anything over, like, 5-6 minutes, it'll go completely black. Like, the video will go completely black, and then it'll just shut off.
See, one thing
it's like, what the fuck, man? I just shelled out good money for this phone, and then it just shits on me in, like, 2 months?
Yeah, my iPhone, I hate their verification process, because it's like, I had to re-download an app, and they wouldn't let me download it unless I verified my credit card, which I did. Everything was accurate. But because there wasn't, like, because I haven't transferred any money over the past couple days, it was declining the payment, even though the app was free.
Yeah.
And so I hate that that's a verification. Like, it just makes it more of a nuisance, because I couldn't update any of my other apps either.
Yeah.
And so until I finally transferred, like, $5 over, and it finally did it. But, I mean, both just suck.
Yeah, I know. Go back to home phones.
Pigeons.
Carry your pigeons.
I'm going to take it back to my ancestors and just do smoke signals. So, alright then.
Alright, let's get on with the movies.
Let's do it.
Do it.
So, since you did Suspiria last time, I'll go ahead and go first this time.
Fine.
I mean, if you're gonna cause a fight, like, before we go continue on, I do want to say that about Arlie Ermey's passing. That is very sad, and that he's definitely going to be missed, because he's kind of an icon in horror because of his portrayal in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. Because
he took away attention from Leatherface, because his character was 10 times more terrifying and intimidating in the entire movie. And when you put on that huge portrayal and take away from this giant, like, 6-foot chainsaw-wielding cannibal, who's supposed to be the center of terror, and you're the one that's more terrifying, that's definitely something to admire. Yeah. And so it's just sad that he's passed away, because he's definitely an icon. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he played the
general
in Full Metal Alchemist, and then Full Metal Jacket.
If he was a Full Metal Alchemist,
nerd,
that would be great.
Yeah, no, I know who he is, and he was and he also played, like, the Army General from Toy Story. He voiced him.
Did he?
Yeah, he's the
no way.
Yeah, he's the little Army toy general, and then because he's the cop in the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, isn't he?
Yeah, well, the one portraying a cop, because he's not actually a cop.
Yeah, that's right.
But he, like, it's just...
Yeah, and his whole scene was fucking nuts.
Well, and he's actually from... I think he is an actual, like, Marine.
Yeah, he used to be an actual drill sergeant.
And so,
that's why he got picked for Full Metal Jacket.
And he did such a good job.
They're just like...
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, like, when they asked him to star in it, they're like, just treat them like they're your actual crew. And he's like, you sure? Yeah.
He's like,
all right.
All right, you said so.
Yeah, if are you fine with them if I make him cry? They're like, try it.
Yeah, he's definitely a legend, and it's sad that he's passed away.
Yeah.
Along with Avicii
and Vern Troyer just passed away today too.
So, we just R.I.P. to them and their families and their fans that have been affected by it. May they rest in peace. They definitely went away too soon.
Yep.
So, all right, let's go ahead and move on.
So what are you talking about, Matt?
I am talking about 2013's The Den, which is directed by Zachary Donahue, written by Zachary Donahue, and Lauren Thompson. It stars Melanie Papalia. I think I said that right.
Papalia.
And this one is going to be really hard.
David Schlochtenhoffen.
David Schlochtenhoffen. David Schlochtenhoffen. So I'm going to spell this name out, listeners, and if you want to correct me on this, please do so. It's SCHLACHTENHAUFEN. That is Schlochtenhoffen.
Very German name.
Hoffen. and Adam Shapiro spent way too long trying to pronounce that. Should have practiced last night. I was like, I'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
I didn't think they were going to throw.
Could you
a crazy
imagine
last name.
trying to go to sleep, just trying Schlochtenhofen.
Lauren probably like, shut the fuck up and go to bed.
Schlochtenhofen, Lauren.
Schlochtenhofen, I mean. But the synopsis is, while studying the habits of webcam chat users from the apparent safety of her own home, a young woman's life begins to spiral out of control, witnessing a grisly murder online. And so, when I went into this movie, I thought I was going to kind of hate it, because it's filmed the same way as that terrible Unfriended movie is.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally it's the same way. And so I thought it was just going to be like very cheesy effects, just stuff you expected. Mm-hmm. But I was really surprised because it's actually pretty smartly written for all the incidents that do happen. There are cons, and I'll get to that in a second, but obviously let's do the pros first. So first thing I like about it is I like the intro. It just jumps right in. It has no opening credits at all. Just immediately to the opening scene. And it's kind of smart because the Den is literally what the website that she's chatting on is called, is the Den. And so it introduces the title in a smart way because that's what she's doing her, grant experiment on. And so that was really well done. I really liked that. Also, it has a really kind of interesting pacing to it. Like, it shows you the protagonist's daily routine to get you to connect with her a little more. Show that, she is a person. She is a human that has her own routines. But it shows her doing her daily routine while her computer is filming her the whole time, or laptop. And so that's kind of what I mean. Like, it comes off like Unfriended.
Okay.
Where it's like everything is being filmed from the laptop.
Yeah.
And so the pacing in general is not too bad. It's not extremely slow. It's actually pretty normal for a slasher kind of flick, where it starts off slow, getting you used to the character, showing her love interest, showing you her friends, showing that she's cute and quirky and stuff like that, and then progresses on forward with these strange happenings that start to happen in the movie, where she starts to chat with this one girl, but she can't see her face because the camera's broken. But this girl starts talking in very riddled dialogue.
Uh-huh.
And so eventually what happens is that a video of the girl being shown that she's taped up and tied up and then killed is shown to our protagonist. And that's the next thing I want to move on to, is that when you see the killings in this movie, it's so raw and very intense. Mm-hmm. Like, because with the first girl, kind of a spoiler warning, first girl, first kill, you see the dude, like, turn on the camera, record her, like, mouth taped up, her, like, screaming, and he just slams her head on the table and just, like, takes the jagged edge of a knife and just cuts her throat.
Yeah.
And it shows the whole thing, like, and it's very real, and which I give credit to, because that's a really good effect, how they pulled it off. Mm-hmm. Because there wasn't, like, it was off, obviously it's fake, but the way they showed it, it's just so raw and so intense that it definitely caught me off guard, because I didn't think it was going to be that brutal. I thought it was going to be an off-camera kill. Yeah. Like, and the fact that they showed the blood coming out and everything, like, that adds to the terror of this movie. And so I do have more pros, but they go into spoiler territory. And so before I finish my pros, I do want to go on to my cons. So there's a point in the movie where, she goes to sleep, but she leaves her laptop on the whole time while she's asleep. Uh-huh. And that kind of bugged me, because in the scene you see the laptop get picked up and get dragged to her location, like where she's sleeping, and then you see this hand come up and start to pull off her blanket and start to pull off her underwear, and then you're just like, holy shit, this killer works fucking fast, because this isn't even halfway in the film, and I'm just like, he's gonna put his dingling in her meat taco. Oh my god,
he must have stuffed that turkey.
Turns out just be just her boyfriend. But the thing that bugs me about it is, like, why does she just leave her laptop on with the light on?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand they want to film that scene to create suspense, but there's no real reason for why it's there. Like, and even more so, why would the boyfriend go and just grab the laptop and just be so fucking creepy about it? Because he's not like he was being sensual. He was just, like, literally moving his hand, all, like, creep factor slowly, kind of twitching, where he's just like, you know, like any prepubescent kid in high school who finally gets their first look at the vajayjay.
Role-playing?
No, it wasn't.
I don't know.
No, because it wasn't role-playing, because he was surprising her with midnight sex because she didn't expect it. So, like,
role-playing.
So he literally
He's an intruder.
So he literally scares the shit out of her, which would have been funnier if she had a heart attack. She's like,
movie's over.
So that was just kind of a weird thing that didn't make sense to be in the movie. And then it's the same thing as always. I hate the cop in this movie because she shows the video to the cop of the girl having her throat slit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the cop's like, I mean, we'll send it over to our cyber division, but, you know, for all we know, this could be fake. And I'm like, dude, aren't you, like...
That's, like, the problem with the movies I just saw.
Well, so, two things. So, I understand, like, as an officer, you can't really do anything till a crime's been committed, and you have to prove that a crime was committed. But at the same time, I feel like if you've seen enough grisly murders and enough grisly stuff, and this guy is an investigator,
yeah,
you would know what, you know, the difference between the real life and a fake thing is.
Yeah.
I might understand that there's confusion, but he just kept playing her off over and over to a point until he gets killed in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you just listened to her to beginning with, and from the get-go, none of this would be happening. You wouldn't have died. You know, you would have actually caught this guy a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Instead, she gives this job to her amateur hacker friend. So, you know, because everyone has an amateur hacker friend.
Oh, yeah. That's common. You don't?
No.
Get with it.
One thing also that I wanted to mention as a con is when she's actually going through the den, like the actual website, it actually has some pretty good humor for this type of movie.
Yeah.
Because it, like, you know, Omegle and Chat Roulette, like there's always dudes there's always creepy dudes and weird kids.
Yeah.
Like, it actually does that and actually has some pretty, it's so dumb that I laughed at it, but there's an actual penis puppet that shoots out, that looks like a Muppet. Like, it looks like, but it's a penis, and it, like, shoots out fake cum. So, like, it's so dumb, but I laughed at it every time I saw it. And, like, when she's going through trying to talk to someone, she just randomly comes upon this dude who's just, like, slapping his dick back and forth. You know, just like, blah, blah, blah. And I was just, okay, I was like, all right, the humor's pretty balanced well. I'll give it that much. But there's one part, like, where she's going through the den chats, and there's this, like, group of three or four people playing Russian roulette, and, like, one of them shoots themselves, obviously, but it turns out to be fake. Like, and I don't understand why that was there, because it had nothing to do with the rest of the movie, but it was just this long scene. Like, she watched the whole scene of them playing, you know, Russian roulette, where she skipped everyone else who was sketchy or weird, but she watched this whole scene. There's no explanation for why she watched it or why it was even in there. And so I just feel like that scene wasn't needed in the movie. I feel like it was just taking up time to make it a movie. That's something that bugged me. And then there's a point where Elizabeth, that is a protagonist's name, goes to find, I think it's her best friend, Jenny. So she goes to Jenny's house and notices all the power is out, shades are drawn, and as she's calling Jenny's phone, Jenny isn't answering her phone. All red flags. And yet she still goes into the house and starts screaming, Jenny! Where are you, Jenny? Jenny! And instead of calling the police or anything, being like, I think someone broke in. You know, she goes in and then finds, you know, her friend, you know, in a situation that's not good. I don't want to give it away, but, you know, she could avoid that entire situation, or she's just like, wow, there's all these red flags. You know what? I might be annoying to the cops, but I'm just going to call them anyways. And so that that was kind of her being like kind of a dumb like hero in that sense, and this movie is actually pretty written very well, and it's actually pretty smart for the type of one it is. But the fact that she overlooked that and just made that mistake, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel. And there's a scene also where the killer is closing in on Elizabeth's sister and about to break into her home, and instead of Elizabeth calling her sister first to tell her to get out of the house, she calls the cops first, which I understand why, and in the end that does pay off. But I felt like if she just called her sister first, her sister could have gone out, gone to the car, or gone to a neighbor's house. Instead, she calls the cops first, and then and that's just kind of something that I felt like she should have tried to call her sister first. But there's a scene that adds into that explains why she didn't, and that's what I mean that it's really smart about what it's doing in this movie to cover those loopholes. But I still consider it a con either way, because even if I saw a killer break into your house, I would have called you right away and sent like 50 texts, like, fucking run! And then I expect you just to jump through the front window, just I'm out! Also, after that scene where like her sister's place gets broken into, there's a camera that the killer was holding to film the whole thing. Yeah. So he drops the camera as he's running away, and they bag it up for evidence. Mm-hmm. And I don't know much about crime scenes, but what I do know is that you can't tamper with evidence if it's still an investigation going on. Mm-hmm. So there's a cop that picks up the camera and takes it into the house, like the Jenny's house. And I'm just like, that's cool. Like, he should just pick up evidence. Like, no one's gonna be like, hey, Tom, put that shit down. Yeah.
Where'd you get that? Oh, it was outside. Go fucking put it back.
Was it bagged up, Tom? Yeah. Well, then maybe don't fucking pick it up. Did you think about that, Tom? No, because you just think about yourself, don't you?
Yeah, Tom. What, you want to be some kind of hero? I'm like, hey, Chief, I found this. We already knew, Tom.
Well, guess what, Tom? Know. Guess what, Tom? Just because you brought in donuts today doesn't mean you get to call the shots.
Get out. You know what? You're going back to being a rookie.
You know what? We're just going to send you back to being a meter maid.
Yeah, get out. Go pick up some fucking quarters.
So I was like, he's just allowed to do that? But again, I'm not a cop, so I don't know if there's like a set rules or not. But I feel like you're not supposed to mess with shit in a current investigation.
So I don't know. We could ask our cop friend Troy.
We should. We should have brought him on just for this.
Just for this one section. Now get out, Troy. Just waste his time.
All right, so now I'm going to move on to my spoilers / WTF. So if you don't want anything to get spoiled for you, go ahead and go over, I'd say, about 5 minutes, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spoiler!
So here's the spoiler. So the killer eventually lures Elizabeth's friend Jenny over to kill her to Elizabeth's house. But when Jenny gets there, she doesn't call Elizabeth's phone. She tries to talk to Elizabeth through the den chat. Which I get the whole premise of the movie is that, you know, she's doing this experiment on this chat site called the Den. So I get, like, that's how she does all of her communication. But she's used the phone to call people throughout the movie. So I don't know why Jenny just doesn't call her friend during, you know, when she's at the home, be like, hey, I'm here. Where are you? Yeah. Because of that, Jenny gets captured by the killer. She gets kidnapped and she gets attacked. And she could avoid it if she just called Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to go to your house and, like, go on Omegle to try to talk to you. like, hey, man, I'm here. I've been on Omegle this whole time. Where are you? Like, that's fucking stupid. Like, I don't know why she just didn't call her. Like, at that point, she's kind of asking for it. And then Elizabeth does the same thing to Jenny. Like, when she goes over to check on Jenny, she tries to talk to her through the den chat. I'm like, why does nobody just call? Is it such a bad thing to pick up the phone and call your friend? Why is that such a bad thing? Is this a California thing? Is this how they work in California? All of our California listeners, do you guys call each other or do you not?
Do you just use FaceTime?
Do you use Omegle and chat roulette? And now our California listeners are like, no, you fucking idiot. Of course we don't. What do you think we are? Imbeciles? God, fuck you, you fat bitch.
I'm going to go surfing now. That's right. I assume everyone from California surfs.
Racist.
Yep.
Trump's American now.
Sure is.
Another thing that I really liked is that Elizabeth does fight back and actually stabs one of the killers. Because there isn't just one.
Dun, dun, dun.
But she actually does fight back. She fights back and stabs the living shit out of one of them. And then after that, she does eventually choke another one to death with a chain that she's chained up in. And so it was kind of nice because the whole movie, she's kind of like this very vulnerable, understandably vulnerable, doesn't know what to do to save her own life character, you know? And then you see her just turn and just like take control and start stabbing bitches and choking out bitches and fucking bitches up in a royal way. And so that was nice. I mean, it still kind of followed the same tropes of like the helpless girl who needs a man.
Yeah.
Which she doesn't really, because she doesn't really call on her boyfriend a lot to save her life or anything.
Yeah.
She actually does a lot of smart decisions by, keep bugging the police, following up on who this killer is. Sorry, I'm burping.
God.
And she's actually pretty smart. And when she actually, flips it around and starts fighting back, it's actually really rewarding to see it happen. Mm-hmm. Especially because she's a really skinny, really kind of small girl. And I think that really adds into her vulnerability.
Yeah.
And so that's about the end of our spoilers. So I think I need to keep going for at least 30 seconds. You probably should not do that. But no, so a spoiler. What I want to touch on the spoilers is that. Actually, you know what? We're out of time. That's actually after the 5 minutes. Thanks a lot, Cody.
You're welcome.
But no, this is actually really well done. It actually did scare the shit out of me a couple times, which doesn't happen that often these days with a lot of horror films that I watch.
Yeah.
And I like this movie. I've never seen it before. When I went into it, like I said, I thought I was going to hate it. I thought it was going to be another typical kind of suburban slasher flick, and I was like, yeah. But I checked the tomato meter on it, and it was like an 86%.
Oh, damn.
And so I was like, all right, I'm going to give this a shot. And I can see why. I can see why a lot of people like it. Like, it's a good film. It's a solid horror flick. And a lot of it makes sense with, like, a lot of things that happen in this film. And the reason I'm being so vague in it is kind of like how I was with episode 14, where I don't want to give away too many scenes because this is a movie you have to see for yourself. Because once the pacing picks up, it picks up and it grabs your attention and it does not let go.
Yeah.
And so I strongly recommend this to any of our fans, to all of our fans, to all of our
any fan who wants my recommendation,
to all of our listeners, to check this movie out. Right now, it's on Netflix for free. I'm sure you can get it on Amazon. I didn't check the prices for Amazon of how much you can get it for, but right now it's free on Netflix. And if you want a good, intense slasher flick that's all first person, watch this movie because it's actually really, really good. The only other downside is that there's one shaky cam part that might cause some of our viewers to get vertigo, and that's after Jenny, where the cop is messing with the camera in Jenny's place.
Yeah.
Or not Jenny's place. What's her name? Elizabeth's sister's place.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's my final take on this movie is that it has a standard slasher pacing where it starts off kind of slow, picks up. The protagonist is very likable. And at the end of the day, it's a solid horror flick, and I recommend it to anyone. At least check it out once because it's an hour and a half, and it's definitely worth your time.
Cool.
So
sweet.
All right, Cody. And yours is now.
Is it? Can I go now?
Yeah, I'm pulling up the IMDb for it right now.
Cool. Yay!
It's
my turn. I can go now because you're finally done.
Man, if we land any sponsors, I'm going to be so happy.
It's a collector, not the collection. That's the sequel.
You need to relax.
Okay. Yeah, so I did mine on the collector. It stars Josh Stewart, Andrea Roth, Juan Fernandez. It was directed by Marcus Dunstan, and it was written by Patrick Melton, Marcus Dunstan, and two more that did something. I don't know. So the synopsis is: desperate to repay his debt to his ex-wife, an ex-con plots a heist at his new employer's country home, unaware that a second criminal has also targeted the property and rigged it with a series of deadly traps. So this video is a little like, this movie's a little controversial in a sense, like where it can be taken as either a slasher flick or even like a torture porn, because it definitely came out around the same time, like during Saw's big hype and Hostel. So when like the torture porn genre of horror was like a really big thing, but at the same time, like slasher flicks, like the one thing for a slasher flick is like it needs to use just like common tools by the villain, and that's like exactly what the collector uses. Like he just uses basic tools like bear traps and wires and barbed wire. He doesn't have like all this extravagant stuff. One thing that like caught my one thing that I really like about it is that it doesn't take too long to get into the movie. So like for the majority of the movie, like you're following the protagonist, what's his name, Arkin, throughout the whole thing, trying to survive like this rigged up home, because like, and the cool thing about the protagonist too is that like he's relatable, because like everyone has always come to some point in their life where they're desperate to get something done. They think they have to do anything they need to protect their family, and it gives you just enough backstory on him to where like his motives for wanting to rob from the house, and like, and even though he's a bad guy because he's an ex-con, like he's doing this just to protect his family, instead of like, oh, I just want to get rich. So you like hate on him instead, like you relate to him, because
it's a complex character. They actually made a complex hero for like what you're saying. Like he's a crook, but
you relate to him and you want him to win.
Yes, but at the same time, he shouldn't be doing it, and he got himself in this situation.
Yeah,
and so it's like kind of weird to root for him, because it's essentially, I guess, kind of like two bads going at each other, except one's worse than the other.
Yeah, pretty much. And also like, so there was a couple loopholes when I first watched it that I didn't really understand until I watched it again. Like, how did he know where the jewel was that he said he's going to steal from there? But then it does like, it explains that he's been working on the house for several months, so he knows the ins and outs of the entire house. He knows where the safe is, instead of just saying like, oh, well, I know where the jewel is, I'm going to go pick it up. And then like it shows the little flashback of him like staring at the mirror where the safe is. And then also like it does really good work with the camera. So like when it's like going from scene to scene, like when he's going in from one room to another, when it does the upshot, like I thought that's really good, because then you can see.
Are you sure you mean that?
I'm dying.
Are you sure you mean that?
Yep. Because like the cool thing about that part is that, and when he's like first going through the house, when he realizes the house is all booby trapped, it shows like other traps when it's like doing the top scene. So like they do really good camera work and camera angles where you can see the traps and like that he doesn't know about.
Well, and since we're talking about the traps, I know we kind of had a discussion, like, is this more of like a torture flick or a slasher flick? And I made the argument that it's a slasher flick, because if you look in a lot of slasher flicks, they usually torture and mess with their victims before they kill them. Sometimes it's just like straight up, like in Friday the 13th, like he just goes straight for the kill. But if you look at movies like Scream or
Nightmare on Elm Street, he tortures his victim,
or even Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like even Leatherface hung some of his victims and skinned them alive before killing them.
Yeah.
So that's the case for like why this is a slasher. Despite all the
and slasher flicks have like evolved from like just straight up stab of Michael Myers to like more psychological thrillers also. Sorry, I'm going to my script because this one's yours.
Oh, no worries. My bad.
I hit. It's worst date ever. Well, another thing that I like about it is that it's a smart protagonist because like after his first like 2 incidents with the traps, like where he like gets caught by them, when he's trying to escape the house.
Are we
like,
about to talk about the cat?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say it's like the scene in this movie that makes it hard is I will tell it. We should probably tell listeners there are 2 animal deaths in this movie. I'm going to tell you that right now.
One's a little more brutal, in my opinion, than the other.
I mean, but they're both pretty gnarly.
But going back to my point, before we're talking about a cat,
sorry,
it's a smart protagonist too. Like he learns from everything that happens to him instead of just like, oh, I almost died. Well, I'm going to keep running in this direction. No, like he starts checking the traps. Like he checks every room. He moves slowly and like methodically instead of just like trying to running headstrong into a direction and then die. Like he moves super slow so he doesn't get caught by the killer. Like it's a really, really good cat and mouse because the entire majority of the movie,
it's probably the most intense Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, like because the majority of the movie, you're like the killer doesn't know he's there like whatsoever. Until like small little hints, he's like, okay, the killer, like you can even see in the killer's eyes, like some motherfucker's in this house. Right, I'm gonna find him. Arkin does a really good job at just like checking for the traps and then avoiding them, and he follows the wires to make sure like something's gonna be safe and stuff like that. After his like 2 incidents in the beginning.
Yeah, and also I kind of want to point out like how. Like, just another add to how smart he is about making Vicky scream to cause a distraction.
I was getting there.
Oh.
Thanks.
Well, sorry. God. Jesus.
Whatever. And so, like, how it goes into, like, the whole cat and mouse thing where he's like, he finds one of the victims who's still alive, or he finds 2 victims that are still alive, and he tells the woman, he's like, you need to scream so he can come down here and I can get back out. Because, like, if she doesn't cause this distraction, then he's fucked. Like,
and that scene gives just a very eerie, like, unsettling feeling of desperation.
Yeah, because he's like, you need to do this, and like he even tells her like, you need to do this so I can like go find your daughter, because there's one daughter that both the daughters are still missing, but one left way earlier in the film, and then the other one's like the little girl who's like kind of like hiding out. And then another good thing that I like is he's very resourceful. Like he doesn't like when he can't. There's a part where like he's trying to get one of the knives out of a trap, and when he realizes he can't get it, he doesn't just sit there and try and keep going.
Yeah, like
he's like, all right, dip out and try and find something else. And semi spoiler. So there's the scene with the cat. He goes into this room and there's like this sticky acid on the floor and the
like mustard. I'm pretty sure it's expired mustard from McDonald's.
Yeah, something like that. And the cat's like stuck on there meowing and stuff like that. And his shoes get stuck to the floor, and he realizes that it's acidic and it's burning his shoes and it's stuck. And the cat keeps like freaking out because it sees him. And it's like, help, help! And so he like rips the cat out of it just so the cat would stop meowing.
Yeah.
And then like the cat dies. Like it's cut in half, and then the cat's body falls on the thing. And when the killer like comes into the room, he just sees the dead cat. So he's like, "Oh, okay, the cat must be dead," because Arkin hides, and like to get across like the mustard stuff, he throws down like materials that he can walk on.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like really smart about.
Or even like when he gets his fingers almost cut off with the window trap.
Yeah.
Like he actually doesn't scream. Like he
like stays quiet. Like he tries to do his best to make sure the killer.
Well, obviously that seems simple. Like anyone could be like, "Oh, I wouldn't scream." You don't understand. A whole like basic homemade guillotine fell on his fingers.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if one fell on mine, I would probably scream so goddamn loud
fuck
that everyone would think that Chris Brown is beating me up. Oh god.
But yeah, and then like it still follows like a couple of the tropes, like the when the cop. So like at one point, Jill comes back to the house and she gets caught by the killer. And she tries to call the cops on her cell phone, and like only one squad cop car shows up. So I thought that was kind of stupid. It's like I understand at that point.
At least,
but once,
at least bring one more squad car. Like,
yeah, like especially
on.
because like nowadays, like you drive and you see someone just getting a speeding ticket, and there's like 5 cop cars around it. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, speeding ticket gets that, but like you start hearing screams and stuff off the one side of the cell
Yeah.
phone, you're gonna send one cop without a partner.
Yeah.
Like just one cop. So that was one thing that kind of bugged me about it. And then I know like everyone's in hysteria, but another like thing that I didn't like about it is like no one listened to him except for Vicky.
yeah.
Nobody listened to him.
Yeah, that was really frustrating. Is that because I understand like he's a crook and like understandably you wouldn't just trust a crook, but when the dude is coming,
they don't know he's a crook. It's just the fact that like he's in their house. At
yeah.
night,
Well,
like, when all
either
this
way,
stuff's
like
going on.
they know he's not supposed to be. But when he's coming to you with bleeding hands,
Yeah, and he's
like,
trying to like, shh, I'm trying to help you. He cuts you out of whatever trap you're ensnared in. You're not. I would listen to him.
I mean, you couldn't
would.
really risk not to
Yeah.
at that point. Like, I understand the whole caution of not just trusting him, especially since he's not supposed to be in your home. But like at the same time, if a dude just cut me out of a trap, like if he really wanted me dead and he wanted to steal from me, he would have just taken the chance then
Yeah.
to kill me, to get rid of me. Why would he? There's no point. Like, like this isn't going to be a hostage situation. This is going to be him fucking me up if that was really his
Yeah,
intention.
right. And then another thing that I didn't, the CG doesn't hold up all too well, given this movie took place in
I
2009.
didn't even realize there was CG in it.
It's the spiders. All the
Really?
bugs. Every single bug except for the cockroaches are CG.
I thought they were all real.
No, the spider in the beginning when like it's crawling over the teddy bear, and at the very end when it's like, because the whole thing is that like the bad guy is actually a spider because
Yeah,
he set all
it's
the
the whole
traps.
metaphor,
Yeah,
like,
the metaphor. He's a spider.
Caught in the spider's web.
That was one thing that I didn't like. Just because it kind of takes you out like the few scenes that you do see it in, because most of the movie doesn't use CG. It's like when you finally see those small moments of CG, you're like, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Another one.
And then another thing I didn't like, this comes into spoiler territory.
Like, is it a massive spoiler? Or?
I mean, you expect most people to die, but it's one of the deaths.
Okay, so maybe we should give it a spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler
So
warning.
about-
I'd say skip like a minute ahead.
So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Vicky's death was very disappointing in my opinion. Like, I get it, like she gets stabbed and then she's getting her mouth sewn shut and stuff
Yeah.
like that because she was the one screaming and stuff. So it was like,
Right.
that's why he did it. But I just feel like with all those traps and stuff like that, like I don't know. I was hoping like when she like ran out, she was going to get caught by one of the traps that you see, because almost all of them get used, but like most of them on the boyfriend who ends up dying. Like he gets
Yeah.
caught by 3 different traps.
Yeah,
It is one
but
death
I
scene.
love his death because
Oh, it was great.
he falls into a pit
Of bear traps.
And I was just like, yeah!
Yeah, and it's so brutal. But like, I just felt like Vicky's death was a little disappointing, especially because they kind of hint at something when she's putting the Botox in her face in the beginning. You're like, oh shit, that's going to be her downfall.
Yeah.
And then instead, it's
Yeah.
just stab, stitched up.
Yeah, it's definitely a letdown.
Yeah. So that, and then also
And-
oh yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We're back from
And
the
then
spoiler.
and then like one of the characters, like their death is totally their own fault by not listening. Like when the main character, he like cuts her out of her trap and stuff like that, but she's stranded up with barbed fucking wire.
Ugh.
If he didn't want you, if he was there to kill you, I don't think he'd wrap you up in barbed wire and then cut you out of it and be like, shh.
Yeah.
like her being so fucking stupid, and of course she had to die because she shows her tits. So of course
It's
she has
actually,
to die.
that's how he asks women out.
Yeah.
He ties them up in barbed wire and be like, see, I saved you. I could be your knight in shining armor. We can have a life together. Love me.
Yeah, but like, she just like goes for a weapon to try and kill him, and that causes her death. And I was just like, I mean, you fucking deserved it. Like,
Yeah.
again, if I was all tied up in barbed wire and some dude took the time out of their day to cut me out of it, I'm pretty sure I'm going to trust him.
I mean, I might make out with him. It really depends of how stressed out I am at that moment.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm just so happy you're here.
Yeah. And then,
Come here,
And then-
big boy.
and then, I still don't like the ending though. Like,
So-
I know it leads into the sequel, and I really like the sequel.
And it's actually a
But, like,
solid sequel.
It's a yeah, and it's also, it makes sense. Like, not all slasher movies need to have that ending where, like, the hero gets away and there's just a hint that the villain might still be alive. Like, it's very in your face of everything. Like,
well, I like
ending.
the fact there's a sequel just because the gore in this movie was great, and I love.
Oh yeah,
And sorry, I didn't mean to take away from your spill in the end.
Yeah, whatever. It's all about Matt. Podcast over.
Podcast over.
But I just didn't like the ending because, like, it definitely sets you up that it's going to be a happy ending and you kind of feel good, and then it just shits in your mouth about it. It's just like, haha, psych. And also, like, one thing that did bug me about this movie is everything that happens in it technically takes place in 5 minutes.
Wow.
Because, like,
I never really caught on to
yeah,
that.
because in the beginning, he looks at his watch, and it's when he, like, first hears the killer coming in, and he says he's going to have the jewel and everything, like, to the guys by midnight. Or at least he'll let them know he has it by midnight or whatever. He looks at his watch, and it says 11:55. Fairly, like, it's or a small amount of time, and so the whole movie takes place in this very short amount of time.
That's kind of hard to believe with the whole cop showing up and everything.
I know, that's what I mean. I was like that's one big loophole about it.
If it wasn't for that, then I could understand if it takes like at least 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. But even then, like, there's just some parts where I feel like he's bargaining with Vicky.
Yeah, the bargaining with Vicky. I mean, he gets knocked out at one point, and like
maybe unless his watch is broken.
Yeah, so like that was one thing that bugged me is I feel like there's a time loophole in it.
I feel like his watch was just broken because that doesn't line up.
Yeah, well, it's in the very beginning before anything bad actually happens. He looks at his watch and he's like, "Oh fuck!" And that's why he like runs back upstairs to try and get the jewel before he starts hearing. What if he's
never seen a watch before and he got it from his dad who passed away?
He's a con man. That's all about time.
And he realized he's like, "Oh, I'm supposed to put on my wrist," and he just stares at him like, "What does this message mean, Dad?" Rolex. Is that a hint?
Merman,
Dad.
But I might have to like look back on that. Don't take me 100% on that. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but I know it's like in a short amount of time. This whole movie takes place with the first cop showing up, and then all the rest of the cops showing up at the very end. And then he asks the ambulance driver, he's like, "What time?" He's like, "Just before midnight." I'm like, bullshit. That's not just before midnight. Like, there's no way.
Well, first of all, the ambulance driver could be driving all night, so his taking time could be mistaken. I mean, he's working really hard. How does he really know?
I know. I don't know.
He just drives an ambulance. I'm just kidding. No offense to anyone out there that drives an ambulance.
But another thing that I actually really did like about it is it doesn't really explain who the collector is. Like, they give a hint. They definitely hint at it that he's the exterminator in the beginning.
Yeah,
because it even says, like, is it the exterminator? And he's like, "You sure? You saw his face?" And Arkin, like, agrees. He's like, "Yeah, I saw his face." And, like, in the fact that the exterminator has this infatuation with the spider, like, the 2 points in the movie.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes sense, but, like, I like that you actually never see his actual face.
Yeah.
So, like, it's really good. But yeah, I definitely, if you haven't seen it, I know it's definitely one of those movies that kind of flew under the radar when it first came out because, like, it was during the whole High Times of Saw and Hostel and stuff like that.
Well, no, it came actually kind of, I feel like it came out more in a low time and it was trying to still bring that genre back.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. I definitely feel like it's one of those movies that, like, it's another one of those where it's like, oh yeah, I remember that movie, because that's how I felt when I, like, saw it. But when I bought it, because, like, I kind of forgot about it, and then I saw the cover and I was like, oh shit, I always wanted to see that movie. And so, like, I picked it up like a while ago, but I really recommend it. I think especially if you like mild torture porn, if you like, it's partly a torture porn film.
No, I get what you're saying,
but
I still make the argument that it's more of a slasher, though.
Well, and if you like slashers, I definitely say watch it because it's intense throughout the whole movie. Like, you're on your seat. You actually want the protagonist to win the whole time. Like, he doesn't give you any real reason to hate him except for when he runs back to the house. But I understand he wants to go back because he finally found the little girl and he was like, I want to save the little girl because he has a daughter. Like, they make that point out in the beginning that he has a daughter around the same age, and he's like, I want to, protect the daughter or whatever. But at the same time, you're like, you're free. Just go.
Go get help.
Like, you know who he is, so you can go get, the little girl might die, but you can go save your family and tell the cops, and they'll go pick him up because you saw his face before that point.
Yeah.
I believe he saw his face. I can't remember. I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well.
But still, you could have like done something, but whatever.
All right. So we'll do a couple quick interesting facts about both movies. So the Collector urban legend is really a catch-all legend for creepy, hermetic neighbors that may be doing something horrifying inside their dungeon-like basements. The most common Collector legend is the neighbor who collects human body parts and proudly displays them in mason jars. In Russia, the Collector urban legend has a bright future because it played out in real life. Its new mascot is local Russian historian Anatoly Moskv. Yeah. Moskvin, sorry. Who stole corpses from cemeteries in dozens of towns east of Moscow. According to police, he dug up at least 29 corpses and made dolls out of them life-sized faceless female dolls with platinum blonde wigs. So it's based off an actual like urban legend that goes throughout multiple countries.
That's pretty cool.
And also really creepy.
Yeah. Actually, that makes sense. That's why he only collects one person.
Well, and the writers intended this movie to be a Saw prequel, but the idea was declined.
Thank God.
Which makes sense.
Well, like I like that it's not a prequel and they made their own thing out of it. Like it makes a lot more sense for it.
Yeah.
Because like if they did because they do the prequel and they show the prequels in all the Saw movies, so there was no point of actually making a prequel to the Saw movies. So
this one is a spoiler. Yeah, that's what it says, but I'm still going to read it off. So listen at your own risk.
This is for the den.
For the den. Thank you, Cody.
Yeah.
For the den. The film has more than one ending. The original ending was that Elizabeth was dead in the car accident when the truck hits her and she is thrown from the car. It was later changed to her dying on the webcam, being tortured as a new young lady sits back and watches, showing the game is about to repeat. So that is a spoiler. So if we ruined it for you, we apologize. We're near the end of this episode as is. So.
I mean, ruined it for me.
Did I really?
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Oh God, I didn't realize that.
I told you.
I got caught into reading it.
Whatever. It's
I'm sorry.
Hate this place.
Podcast over.
Podcast over. Not really. I mean, it was probably going to be one of those movies where like, oh yeah, I thought about watching that.
I still recommend watching it because it's even though you know what happens now, it's worth it. Just trust me, it is worth it. This movie is actually really solid. Both these movies are really solid.
Yeah.
And
I
with that,
think the Collector's better.
Why do you gotta be that guy?
Because I haven't seen The Den. So
why do you gotta be that guy?
Say that.
So, so to finish up, thank you for tuning in and listening. If you like what we're doing and want to support us, please go over to our Patreon and consider donating and become a Patreon supporter for us. And we just recently, came out with a bonus episode. It was our first go at it. We're gonna structure it a little bit better for our next bonus episodes.
It was just such a bad movie. There was no way to structure it better.
We were also stretching ourselves thin that day with our schedule.
Yeah.
So we should have been more focused. So that's our mistake, everyone. So we do hope that you still enjoyed it. We're still proud of it.
Not the movie.
Not the movie. No, the episode we're proud of.
If you enjoy that movie, I don't want just
don't
really
see this. That's why we got to. That's why so we will structure our bonus episodes a bit better. We're also talking about starting up some T-shirts, and we haven't got any email submissions yet from anyone who took on our challenge from our last bonus episode. That is an actual challenge. If someone wants to take on that challenge and send us an email about 3 to 5 paragraphs to why Evil Bomb versus Ginger Dead Man doesn't deserve as much hate as we gave it, or you want to send a 5 to 10 minute video explaining it, we will read it here on the podcast with your permission, and we will send you a free shirt on us.
Yeah. If you changed our mind.
Yeah, if you change our mind. So we might bring in a third person to help, mediate it. But we need to get those submissions first. Going forward, though, like us, follow us on Facebook, on Twitter as well, at officialphp.
Yeah, and on Instagram at Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PHP Podcast.
You can find us basically everywhere now, from Google Play to iTunes to Spotify to YouTube, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Player FM. If you're listening to us on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating and help us stand out in that comedy category. That'd mean a lot to us. And give us a review of what you guys like about us. With that being said, thank you again, everyone, for being so patient with us and working, and being loyal and, just being loving, supporting listeners.
Just keep kissing up, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, we kind of have to.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys.
I'm just saying appreciate.
We'll take you all out on dates.
Maybe.
I mean, we're at least a hot Denny's date.
I'll take you through the drive-thru. That's what I'll do.
You got any last words?
No, just thank you guys for the support and everything. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. All right, bye.
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 Bye.